Welcome to Sunday Afternoon Porch Sitting, where laid-back conversations come to life. I'm Will.
And I'm Ryan, and we're inviting you to join us as we unwind and explore the essence of life in each episode.
Ryan, what is going on?
Living the dream, my man.
What's going on, porch sitters? Hope you're having a great Sunday afternoon. Oh, I just dropped my phone.
Yeah,
this is off
did
to
the
a
screen
great
crack?
start. No, it didn't. I'm good.
Well, I'm glad.
Yeah.
I took my screen protector off here recently, and I'm nervous every time I set it down.
I can't do it. I did it one time where I took off my screen protector, like on iPhone 4 or something like that, and dropped it. No, I take it back. It wasn't the screen protector. It was the case. I took the case. I was like, I don't need this.
Yeah.
Dropped it. I had a glass back to it, and it cracked. Had to replace it.
I think I went ahead and took mine off because I wanted a new phone. So maybe I'm just kind of biding time.
Drop it on purpose. Like, I swear it was an accident.
I also got a new phone case. I got the new OtterBox. Actually, it's the old OtterBox. It's something like that. It's not as protective because my other one was falling apart.
Which iPhone is that?
The 12.
Oh, okay.
The 13.
Yeah.
12. Yeah.
I don't know. I get lost now.
I do too. I want the iPhone 27.
Yeah, that's going to be a little bit before it comes out.
Yeah. Hopefully I'm still alive.
Yeah, hopefully so.
We'll see.
You should be.
I don't know.
Yeah. What do you got? Why do you say that? You got something coming up?
Yeah, I think we both do.
What do you got coming up?
We were talking about medical conditions. Don't you have that scope?
Oh, yeah. The what? No, I don't.
No, me either.
I don't. But you got something coming up, don't you?
I got scheduled for surgery. Yeah.
When is it?
I mean,
you don't have to give us the date.
The 18th.
Okay.
But yeah, next month. So pretty excited about it.
Excited or nervous?
Yeah, nervous.
Let's tell the listeners what you told me to prepare.
So, I think I always joke around when I get sick.
I tell you what, hold on. Before we go any further.
Why don't you preface with
listeners,
a COVID story?
I would like you to... okay, well, we'll get the listeners' input on the other part in a second. The COVID story is, it was 2020, and it was fall, and we were doing marching contest. It was like November, and you were still a band director at that point.
Yeah.
But you weren't at marching contest.
Not that day.
No. What happened to you?
I got COVID, man.
Yeah, you had COVID, and you had it bad.
It snuck up on me pretty
good.
not
as bad as it could have been, I guess, but you had it pretty bad.
I don't know who had the worst situation that day, me or you.
What? Oh, that's another story.
Another story for another day.
When we get that guest on here, we'll talk about that because that was a funny interaction.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm driving the trailer with maybe it has a hole in the side of it by the time I'm talking to you. And I was asking you how your COVID diagnosis was coming, and you were telling me to start preparing your eulogy.
Well, that
planning your funeral.
I started feeling bad the night before.
Yeah.
And I started feeling flush. And I don't know why every time I had COVID, Will, it was my eyes would get itchy and watery. Like I had allergies. And I'm like, oh, God, here we go again, And so in my mind, I'm like, I don't know if I want to go get tested. I already know what it is. So anyway, I went ahead and, did the thing and went and got tested, and it popped back positive. And I'm like, well, I guess I'm out of school for the next 4 or 5 days or whatever it was, 10 days or I can't even keep up with it because originally it was like 7,000 days. And
I don't even know because they gave us COVID days, but I never got to use them. I was never sick during that time. And by the time they stopped it, or if I ever did have COVID, I don't know. No COVID test has ever come back positive with me. You know, but I've had cold symptoms or allergy symptoms that could have been it at one point, I guess. But like the only times that ever happened to me, we were on a break, like Christmas break or something like that.
And most of the time mine was too, but there was like 2 times where I had to use the COVID days.
Yeah, I just remember calling you and you were like, I'm not doing you were talking about how you had to sit down in the shower or something.
Yeah, because I was weak. Yeah, and that was wild. And I stayed in bed for like 3 days. Yeah, but
I didn't get up and get out. You were telling me to prepare your eulogy.
Yeah, prepare. I was like, prepare my eulogy.
That's exactly how you sounded.
It was pretty rough.
Do you want to hear it? I've been working on it.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding.
Go ahead and start.
I haven't even worked on it.
I did like where the wedding speech was going in that dearly beloved were gathered, but now you don't have to worry about that.
I don't have to worry about that.
So we're in good shape.
Yeah, because I was going to officiate that, and but plans changed.
Plans changed.
Anyway, so let's talk about, you got a surgery coming up. You don't have to go into details. I don't know if our listeners want to know.
No, the thing is like for the last 8 years I've been dealing with this, bulging disc stuff, and so my pain management doctor that does the spinal stuff, the injections, was like, hey, I think it's getting pretty close to us talking, to a neurologist and getting
funeral arrangements.
Some stuff going with that. So anyway, I went a couple of days ago and decided to visit with the doctor that he recommended. And so I'm thinking, okay, when I initially talked to him, he was like, why are you here to see me? I'm like, well, my doctor said that it was time to start having this conversation to see where it goes. And he was like, okay, well, tell me why you're here, though, physically. So I talked to him about, some of the weakness that I've been having. I've been tripping and dropping stuff like crazy, which has been nuts. And so anyway, I kind of told him about that, and he was like, okay, well. And in my mind, in this moment, I'm like, we're talking, year 2, 3, 4, 5 years down the road and stuff like that. And he was like, well, you got a bone spur that's growing into your spinal cord, and I think we need to take it out now and do a fusion. I'm like, oh. So anyway, I was like, okay, so, how soon are we talking? He was like, well, that numbness and tripping and all that stuff, the weakness that you're experiencing, like, could be permanent the longer you wait. And I'm like, so we talking like 6 months? He was like, I was thinking like next month. I was like, oh, okay.
And if you put it off, do you basically become like what's that one guy? Stephen Hawking?
No, not Christopher Reeves either.
Or Christopher.
So no, it's one of those deals where nerves.
I was like, well, I have to put a ramp on the porch. I don't know if it's ADA compliant.
No doubt. But nerves don't like to be pinched. They don't like to be stretched. And so the bone spur.
That's like me. I don't like to be pinched or stretched either.
Nobody does, especially, the Pillsbury Doughboy. But I feel like you've been doing that the last week, with the pizza. But anyway, long story short, when they get rid of that bone spur and they do the fusion, it gets rid of the pinch and the pull. So he talked about doing a laminectomy where they just replace a disc from the back. But he was like, man,
anything that ends in ectomy, that worries me.
He was like, that'll help out because, it'll open up. Because he said, a neurologist opens a door. That's all they do. They open the door for a nerve to decompress and breathe,
Yeah.
And so when you go in from the back and do the laminectomy, you're opening that space for that nerve to be able to breathe, but you're not getting rid of the stretch from the bone spur, because he's like, I can't go from your back to the front of your body on that side of the spinal cord to get that bone spur. And he says it's impossible because you damage the spinal cord. And I'm like, well, not interested in that. So let's go with option 1.
So let's tell the listeners what you were talking to me about that you needed. Because any surgery at all is dangerous. It's not.
I think for me, I get procedural anxiety.
Yeah.
Like when I go to the dentist, I get anxiety. I hate it,
I get anxiety going to a lot of things now.
Oh, it's terrible. The older I get, it's worse. But
I got anxiety riding the Tower of Terror. Now, never at all. But we get up there and the drop, and I can start feeling my anxiety go up. I'm like, what is going on? I've ridden this ride 20 times.
Well, I've had an MRI before, and I got extreme anxiety going into that too. I'm like, oh my God, what if this bed gets stuck? Yeah. And I was like, ma'am. So anyway, it worked out. But, I think going up to this part, man, that's had me the most anxious about it is they sent me 4 different messages about 4 different appointments and visits. I've got to go to a pre-op appointment. I've got to go to a heart and lung assessment appointment for them to, do blood work and all that kind of stuff and clear me for surgery. That's a 2-hour appointment. They said, I don't know if it's going to be that long. So those of you that are listening to this are like, oh, be quiet, shut up. It's not that long. Thank you. Just send us an email and encourage, me as we go through this. But then the final thing too, is after that, you have to go to a 2-hour class to learn how to live life in a cervical collar and all that kind of stuff for 6 weeks in the collar. So I'm like, oh my gosh.
Are you going to be able to drive? I mean,
they said I'm not supposed to for 2 weeks.
Okay, for 2 weeks.
I'm not supposed to.
But you're going to be wearing this collar for 12 weeks? Is it like a dog collar so you don't lick the stitches?
It's like a dog collar so that you don't move your vertebra to keep them from fusing.
So when you go
I will not be driving a bus for that
When
time.
you go to turn, you're going to have to turn your whole body.
Yes, yeah.
This podcast, if we're going to record episodes,
it's going to be terrible. I'm going to have to be like this, looking over.
You're going to be like Michael Keaton,
we'll have to sit across
Batman.
from each other at the table. If I can even sit, I don't even know. I might have to lay down.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see.
Well, so we were going to go into this. You were telling me like you
last
needed
will
to prepare.
And testament. Yeah, because they asked me and they said, "Hey, do you have an advance directive or a last will?" I said, "No, but I'm going to give it to you verbally." I said, "Let me go."
Yeah.
I'm going to be. Now, this is on a serious note. I know we joke around a lot, but dude, I'm not interested in being, a quarter or a third or even a half quality of life, man.
Yeah.
Seriously. I don't know how you feel about it, but I'm like, let me go.
So if it gets to that moment and they're like, the doctor is talking to me like, look, you might want to consider pulling the plug on. I'll just tell the doctor, Doc, I'm charging my phone on that plug.
I've already plugged it. I already know what this dude wants. Nothing.
Well, we were talking about in your will, what would you want from the podcast, and
the microphone's going in the casket with me.
I think the listeners need to input what should be the podcasts and what should be with you.
Yeah, do not put that church mic in my casket.
So,
do not.
So, listeners, do we want the church mic to be replaced with Ryan's microphone?
Yeah.
We'll put the stand in there with you. We don't want the stand.
You've had neurological surgery too.
Oh, I've had brain surgery.
Yeah, how was that?
Yeah. I mean, I guess it turned out okay. I swear to you.
Was it terrifying?
Before the brain surgery, I was better. I liked science a lot more, but after the surgery, I don't like science as much.
Yeah, because you learned so much.
Yeah, no, I think I got dumber. But do you want me to talk about it?
Yeah, talk about it.
All right, so I was like 8 years old, 9 years old, somewhere around there. I don't quite remember. It's been a long time.
Oh, sorry. I'm just kidding.
But I was having seizures, basically, and I don't remember what kind of seizure, but basically the left side of my face would start twitching.
Yeah.
And it was uncontrollable, and my vision would go blurry. And I didn't know what was going on.
How frequently was that?
It was random.
Yeah.
Never knew when it was going to happen. It was probably, oh gosh, I can't remember. Probably once every couple of days or something. I vividly remember, those moments that you always remember.
Yeah.
Like those core memories. I'll never forget, we were doing a mock toss test.
Yeah.
And there was a writing prompt, and it was like, describe this snowman or whatever. And we had to, write on that. Mm-hmm. Anyway, and it started happening to me.
Yeah.
And
were you like, oh my gosh, this is a polar bear now?
I was, right? I was ashamed of it. I was trying to hide it.
Yeah.
Because I thought something's wrong with me, and I didn't want to tell anybody. So it happened a few more times. I can't really remember any core memories of that happening. But one night, like I used to sleep with the light on in my room, and my parents would always come turn it off once I was asleep because I was scared of the dark because I'm a chicken. Yeah. Anyway. But one night my parents saw it. Something was going on with me, and it was kind of weird. And the very next morning, I was eating my breakfast. Another core memory here. Mm-hmm. I was sitting in my Ninja Turtle underwear with my Raphael cereal bowl, eating a bowl of cereal, watching cartoons. And I had another episode, and I was trying to hide my face behind the cereal bowl. And my mom noticed it, and we decided to go to my pediatrician that right then, Dr. Kimball. So we went up to Mount Pleasant, where he was, and he was kind of concerned by it, and he ordered an MRI right there. So I went to go get my first MRI, which was the best one I ever had, by the way. Did
it all go downhill from there?
It kind of did.
Yeah.
I got a funny CAT scan story later on. Anyway, but they the reason why I liked it was because they gave me a set of headphones and put it on my favorite radio station, and I got to listen to music while I was, in the MRI.
96.9 WXBQ.
I don't even think it was my favorite radio station, but I really think it was. It was either 95.9. No, it was either 95.9 or 96.9 because it was country music, because I liked country when I was a kid.
99.9, The Wolf.
Like Garth Brooks, anyway.
Yeah.
But anyway, the results of the MRI came back, and my pediatrician said, this is an emergency. We need to get him to Children's right now.
Yeah.
So we went home and packed up our stuff, picked up my sister who was staying with some friends of ours. And I just remember her being all sorts of in tears and everything. And anyway, got in the car, went up to Children's, and they kind of checked me out there and checked out the MRI. And they said, well, it's not an emergency yet. He's doing all right. So they observed me for a week at Children's Hospital. And what they discovered was that I had a leaking blood vessel on the right side of my brain. Mm-hmm. and it was causing me to have seizures. So I remember sitting in the doctor's office. He had a Dr. Swift was his name, and he kind of looked like the bad guy in the Three Ninjas movies.
Yeah,
had this greased back black ponytail. Anyway, he had this little art easel thing, and he told me go over there and paint a picture. So I drew like a rainbow or something, and he was talking to my parents about it, and basically told them that it was I'm going to mispronounce this, so I'm sorry for all the doctors listening, but it was a Calvinist malformation or something like that. And he said that if I'd had this, that if I had it when I was an infant, I would have died.
Yeah.
That this usually occurs a lot sooner in life. For some reason, it came to me later. So that was tough news for my parents to take.
Yeah.
Obviously, I was too focused on making sure that my rainbow I was drawing looked really cool. But anyway, so I remember coming home for a couple of weeks or whatever, and we went back up for the surgery prep.
Yeah.
And the nurse that was prepping me for surgery was talking to me, keeping me relaxed and stuff. By the way, Children's Hospital was fantastic. The playroom on every floor with all sorts of games, board games, and I think they had like a Super Nintendo back then. They would come around with an activity cart. The room I was in was right next to the snack room that had a bunch of Jell-O and chocolate milk in it. It was just a phenomenal place.
Yeah.
And in fact, like 2 days after I left Children's Hospital, like Nolan Ryan came by for a visit. I was like,
should I go and check and see if they could do my surgery?
Yeah, maybe so. Yeah. They had that little train set thing.
Yeah.
That we talked about that time. Anyway, so the nurse was talking to me. He's like, so what do you like? And at that time I was, baseball. I loved playing baseball. I loved watching baseball. And he's like, well, that's cool, And anyway, I remember going into the operating room, and they counted down, or told me start counting down from 10. I don't remember what number I got to. It was kind of scary. Like, I was nervous. It was early in the morning, and, they're operating on my brain.
Yeah.
Anyway, I remember next thing, like in an instant, I wake up and it's a recovery room, and I have to throw up. But, I'm this awkward kid. I'm still awkward as an adult, but I remember calling the nurse over, and, I'm groggy state or whatever. And I was like, can I go to the bathroom? Because I had to throw up. I didn't want to tell her I got to throw up, but I was like, can I go to the bathroom? Thinking she'd just let me stand up and walk, whatever. So she brings over this, looks like a plastic thermos thing. Y'all know what I'm talking about. And I was like, how am I going to throw up into this?
Yeah.
Anyway.
It's a pea cup.
Yeah. So I basically just held on to it for a little bit and handed it back to her and said, never mind. And then I went into ICU. After that, I was in ICU for, I think, a day or two. And I remember the only thing that was on TV, I couldn't sleep because I was in pain. And there was also an infant in the next ICU over that was screaming the whole night. Anyway, but I just remember the only thing that I could watch on TV, the only thing that was on TV was like men's beach volleyball.
Yeah. The last time that I was in the hospital, the channel that really I could find that was like interesting was watching the camera at the front door, watching people coming in and out of the hospital. I don't know if they had
That's like people watching,
one,
man. I like doing that.
I do too. I think I learned at an early age, but
well,
anyway.
I finally got to sleep, and when I woke up, there was some flowers from Pittsburgh High School that were at the end of my bed. My dad was, I think I talked about this before. He worked for a TV station in Mount Pleasant, and he had done some kind of interview or story recently at Pittsburgh High School about something, and that principal, he knew that I was having surgery or whatever, and so I guess because my dad probably told him. And anyway, they sent flowers. I thought that was really nice. Sweet. But the other thing was at the end of my bed. Remember that nurse I talked about? There were these 3 big boxes of baseball cards. He had a friend that is in baseball collecting or whatever, and he had brought those to me, and I still have them. And I mean, there was like, I don't know, probably 2,000 baseball cards that he gave me.
That's pretty cool.
And anyway, but I've still got this scar on my head. I used to cut my hair short when I was a kid, like I'd get a short fade.
Yeah.
But there was one time where the barber was like, what happened? Did you get abducted by aliens? And it's like, yeah. And so I'm just kind of embarrassed by it. And I know I shouldn't be, but.
Well, just know it's not in your bald spot on the back of your head at all.
It's not there.
Can't see it.
So when people are like, why don't you just shave your head? That's why I don't. Because, I've got that scar. And it's not, I feel like Cousin Eddie, you know, with the government plastic in his head. It just, my hair doesn't part right.
I don't know why I'm getting like Sling Blade vibes.
But anyway, you remember how I had to throw up or whatever? They didn't tell me. They didn't, or we didn't hear it or understand it.
Yeah.
I wasn't supposed to eat any greasy food before the surgery, but I had McDonald's for breakfast because my parents were like, you know, what do you want for breakfast?
You'll be fine, whatever.
Right, what do you want for breakfast? Well, if I'm up this early,
now looking at it, it's like, oh my God, this could have killed you.
Man, so we had I finally got back to my room and we had a bunch of family come in to, you know, visit with me and everything. And I was just throwing up. But I couldn't do any physical activities for months until my stitches dissolved.
Yeah.
I couldn't play baseball that season. It killed me.
Yeah.
I mean, it could have killed me, I guess, but
yeah.
I couldn't run. I wasn't supposed to run. I ran. I was a kid.
Yeah.
Couldn't go to PE. I would have classmates take turns and stay in the classroom with me while they went to PE. And, you know, we'd play around in little games or whatever. But anyway, yeah.
Yeah, that's my biggest struggle, man, is like, they were saying, well, you know, you have to take 1 week off of work, and then it could be 2 weeks, and then that started getting my anxiety up.
Sometimes it's tough when they tell you, like, hey, you need to slow down. You just don't want to slow down.
No.
Ask me if I played football in 7th grade.
Did you play football?
I sure did.
Did you?
I did, and you know what? I'm pretty sure I got, like, a concussion from it, because back then they told us, you know, lower your helmet and run hard.
Yeah.
And I was a little offensive lineman. I was like an 80-pound left tackle. And
is that 80 pounds soaking wet, or is it like 86 pounds soaking wet?
Pretty much. And one time I had to play guard in practice, and the linebacker was blitzing or whatever, and just laid me back on my butt. And I remember blacking out. And anyway,
I've driven by the hospital twice.
What, Children's?
No, where they're doing my surgery.
You scoping it out?
Yeah, I'm like, okay, is this in the same place where it used to be, and all that kind of stuff. The first time I had to go over there, like literally to check it out, because, you know, I have to start planning for getting a ride and all that kind of stuff way ahead of time, because I don't want to just throw that on anybody. So I'm like, hey, by the way, you know, I need to figure out where this is at, because they've opened that other facility up on South Broadway, and all of my pre-op appointments are at the new hospital over on South Broadway, and then they're doing the surgery over at the main hospital.
So is it day surgery? They're going to let you go that day?
No, I have to stay overnight. No, unfortunately.
Do you know how long they're going to keep you?
He said hopefully one day.
Yeah.
So I think that's all, you know.
Did you start a GoFundMe account and pay for this?
I don't even know how much it's going to cost yet. So
maybe we should.
Maybe a Patreon or GoFundMe might help out.
Hey, I don't want to like cut this short, but we do need to talk about Patreon and you know, how we're going to do that. I think what we're going to do is we'll advertise it on Facebook if we haven't already by this point. And we'll advertise our Patreon, and if you subscribe to our Patreon, or if you, I don't know what you call it, patronage?
Be a patron? Patronage?
How about that? If you're a patron to our Patreon, then we'll, like, I don't know, send you a t-shirt, you know.
Yeah.
We'll figure that out.
A t-shirt, or it depends on how much it is. Like, you know, if you donate $1,000, of course you'll get a t-shirt. Like, if you donate, you know,
I mean, maybe we'll give him one of those keychains.
If you donate $500, you'll get a sticker. If you donate, you know, $50, then we'll get you a keychain.
Yeah, we'll get you a keychain that people can scan the QR code and like, where does this go to? I will say, I did wear my
QR code that goes nowhere.
I did wear my podcast shirt.
Ask me if I've washed mine and pulled it out of the package yet.
Have you?
No.
Are you kidding me? I've worn it like 3 times.
Is it comfortable?
Yeah, it actually is.
I can't wait to wear mine.
I wore it on the way down to Disney and walked around in Buc-ee's and all that stuff.
Did you interview people at Disney like we had talked about?
I did. I cannot believe we haven't. I didn't prepare it.
No, we'll prepare it for the next episode. So Will went around the park, and we had talked about him just going up to random people, and we'll have to do it on the episode probably next week or the week after.
I've probably got like 7 or 8.
But we talked about him.
Some of them are pretty short,
and just randomly interviewing people.
Yeah.
Did you get random people or people you knew?
No, it's a mix.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay. What was your favorite one?
What was my favorite one?
Yeah. You don't have to tell what it was, but just tell me where it was at and who it was with.
Well, I don't remember their name.
Okay, so it was a stranger.
Yeah.
Okay.
I said
at a park.
I said, "Do you listen to Sunday Afternoon Porch Sitting?"
Yeah.
Podcast, and they said no, and I said, "All right, thanks."
Perfect.
We were standing in line. They're like, what?
So we're also thinking, like, when I have surgery next month, we ought to, like, do a show at the hospital.
You think they'd allow all this equipment in there?
They couldn't tell you no.
Why?
Like, if it's in a backpack, they're never going to know.
Oh yeah, but they're gonna. You don't think they're gonna be suspicious that I'm bringing a backpack?
I don't give a. Well, I can't
maybe
say
just
what I want to say.
maybe telling them
I
I'm
don't
bringing
care.
in your PlayStation for you to play in the room.
You're bringing in my Crohn's medicine
You are
and all that
not.
kind of stuff.
Can I be honest with you?
Yeah.
You are not gonna want to do a podcast while you're laying in a hospital bed and you can't move your neck.
I think I would rather do this than sit there and be like,
You know what?
Nothing.
But you're not going to be able to use your mic stand.
Yes, I can.
Nuh-uh.
I'll put it on my bedside tray.
It's not
Pull
going
it
to
right
work.
up to me.
Oh my God.
I will,
I'm going to have to like come visit you.
with the podcasting equipment.
Yeah, I think so.
Now, the only thing that might be suspicious
No, I mean without
is
the podcasting. Like I've got to go visit you.
Well, that's fine. But the only thing that would be suspicious is the extension cord.
I'll pack batteries. I'll just do a bunch of batteries.
Yeah, that'll work.
Yeah.
So, my other thing too is, how people actually like have people record them after they come out of anesthesia?
Yeah.
I think we need to start.
I'll make a video of that.
I think we need to start the podcast
I
there.
will say, I just used my phone to interview people.
Yeah.
And we haven't heard it on here on the podcast or anything. I think the audio is actually going to be
Just
pretty
get
good.
bring that microphone that you have.
Yeah, I guess I could.
Yeah.
I could do that and just interview you. Hey, Ryan, you just had neck surgery or back surgery here, and just want to know, did they keep your gown covered, or was your butt showing to everybody?
It probably was.
I gotta tell you. So when I was in college, I worked for this subcontractor, and we worked at ETMC Hospital back then, and they were redoing their operating rooms down in the basement.
Yeah.
Like upgrading them. They looked really nice and everything. I remember we had to wear full scrubs and all this stuff to go in there. And what we were doing was putting in speakers and attaching them to the cable box, because the doctors like to listen to music when they operate. And let me tell you, some of the doctors like to listen to heavy metal, screaming, whatever.
doubt.
Anyway, but a friend that I was working with there, like, you could see into one of the other operating rooms, and some older gentleman was having back surgery, maybe the same thing they're doing with you, but they had like his back kind of or behind his neck kind of open up, whatever, and his gown was wide open. You can see his bare butt.
Yeah.
And
well, they don't have.
I wish that I did not have that as a core memory.
Well, I worked at the hospital for 2 years, and I loved it. I enjoyed it.
You worked? Was it the morgue?
No, well, I did. Yeah, I did that, but it was just patient transportation. Now, they put me in the morgue most of the time because...
Well, that's technically outpatient transportation.
It is. But there was a lot of people that are really superstitious about that stuff.
Yeah.
And so, I didn't mind it, but you saw a lot. There was a lot.
Yeah.
But in the 2 years that I worked there. But anyway, it's the same hospital that I'm going and using, so it's great. Let me tell you what gives me the most anxiety about this. I have read so many stories online, and they have to give you sedative to put you under, like the general anesthesia. But they also, with doing any kind of, and you had it too, with your brain surgery, mine being my back, they have to do a paralytic. I mean, because you can't move, And so I'm so nervous that I'm going to be one of those cases where they give me the paralytic and I come out of the anesthesia and I can feel everything and I just can't move.
That is kind of, I've heard those stories. That's creepy.
I'm scared to death of that. So we'll see.
Well,
so I'll wake up in the operating room.
I would say, they've done brain surgery with somebody awake before.
Oh,
like they're sitting there playing a guitar.
Yeah, they have to do that.
On that
to make sure that they don't cut a nerve or the wrong part of the brain. But
yeah. Why did the music stop?
Back surgery, not so much. He told me, he was like, I will go in from the front, and he says, I'll do about a 1 to 2 inch incision. And he says, I'll take some clamps, and he says, I'll pull back your carotid artery, and I'll pull back your esophagus, just to ever so eloquently expose your vertebral space on the disc that we're going to fuse. I'm like,
this is creepy.
This is not making it any better.
Yeah.
So
it's
anyway, scary. It is, but I don't know. He said the worst side effect I'm going to feel is my esophagus is going to swell.
Yeah.
And I might not be able to eat, like regular food for 4 days. Yeah.
You're gonna have to have a feeding tube,
Clear liquid diet.
a colostomy bag.
No, thank you.
You're gonna have a colostomy
Probably
bag.
one day with Crohn's disease, but not right now.
I can't wait when I walk in your recovery room, not recovery room, but in your hospital room after the procedure and everything's good. I've got a bunch of things that I'm going to make sure I say really loud.
Well, listen, the thing that...
Hey, listeners, if you would like to add to that list, send us an email at Saps Podcast of what you want me to make sure I say where everybody in the hospital can hear me. I think that would be funny.
Let me be clear.
Yeah. I'll probably know some of the medical team that you have, maybe.
Yeah.
From when I taught at a private school, we had, I had some parents that
Do you know one of my doctors?
Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, you know Dr. Fanous.
Oh, I do know Dr. Fanous.
You know Dr. Fanous, yeah.
I never taught, well, they were never in band. All of his sons did choir. They have fantastic voices, by the way.
That's awesome.
Yeah, they're beautiful singing voices.
So,
but
anyway, I
don't
think
have
I McDonald's. Some
don't have McDonald's before you.
Yeah, I don't plan on. I haven't had McDonald's in months.
Yeah,
I'm actually down 17 pounds.
I'm proud of you, man.
Yeah,
that's awesome. I plan on.
It's great.
Yeah, once I get back from my Chicago trip, I plan on doing some of my New Year's what do you call that, resolution workout things.
I know somebody
like 2 months.
who has become an Optavia coach.
Yeah, is that you?
Yeah.
For real?
Yeah.
No way.
Not yet, but
give me a discount. If I use Saps Podcast in the code, do I get 15% off?
We could do that.
Hey, you need to talk to... Okay, is it Optiva?
Optavia.
Optavia?
Yeah.
It's not Optivia?
Some people pronounce it that way, but when I've done the Zoom meetings for the initial consult or whatever, they always say Optavia.
It's like my aunt used to call Harrah's Casino Herrera's.
Herrera's?
Yeah, Herrera's Casino. We're going to Herrera's.
Yeah.
But
I heard somebody say that they were going to put icing on a cake, but they didn't call it icing. They call it icing.
Icing? That's kind of weird.
It is. I was freaked out about it.
Yeah. But you should talk to Optivia and see Optiva. Yeah. I can't do it now. What is it?
It affected me in a really weird way.
How do you say it again? Optivia?
Optavia, yeah.
Yeah, you need to talk to Optavia and see if we can give our listeners a discount.
Well, Will, I think I smell your dough rising. Because you got another week of pizza coming up,
I got another pizza, yeah.
Well, as the sun sets on another Sunday afternoon porch sitting, we appreciate you guys sharing in this laid-back journey with us.
Until next time, stay relaxed and enjoy the simple moments.